check this out. So the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, the very just corrupt and shady organization or group that it is, we now know that they were, quote, intimately involved with the development of the Iowa Caucus reporting app that led to all of the confusion and problems on caucus night. Now we know the DNC was very intricately involved in that process. And is that any huge surprise at this point? It's not to me. Look at all the shady crap that they pulled in 2016 to prop up Hillary Clinton at the detriment of Bernie Sanders. Took them a week, but the Iowa Democratic Party finally declared a winner. There was reportedly trouble with the app precincts were supposed to use and send the caucus results to headquarters, but when that failed, they reverted to phone calls. When the word got out that the Buttigieg campaign had also paid Shadow Inc., the company behind the app, compromising a lot of former Hillary Clinton staffers, Mayor Cheat started trending. Excuse me. And then there was a report that a skilled hacker could have easily intercepted and even changed vote totals, so insecure is the app. Additionally to that, it seems like the Shadow Inc. people didn't, I guess it's called like a stress test to see how the app would fare, simulate how it would fare on caucus night. They didn't do that at all. It wasn't secure. People could have hacked into it and changed results. And who's to say that that didn't happen? Who's to say that the DNC wasn't involved in some of that stuff? I wouldn't put it past them. Would you? I think it'd be silly to argue otherwise, honestly, just given their shady and corrupt history, and that's still going on, unfortunately. Now, Yahoo News is reporting that the DNC was intimately involved with the development of the Iowa reporting app. DNC Chair Tom Perez is already fighting off calls for his resignation over the Iowa debacle, and this certainly isn't going to help. Indeed, he should have resigned. He's a corporate neoliberal centrist and will do the bidding of through that ideological lens, and obviously that's complete antithesis to Bernie Sanders and the movement he represents. So I would like to see Bernie get elected and then go ahead about trying to get Tom Perez replaced. He was it in 2016. I think he was running against Keith Ellison, a progressive, somebody that Bernie supported. Perez ended up getting it, which is really sad and messed up because I think Ellison would have done a pretty damn good job in that position, especially compared to Tom Perez. He's horrible. And then, just how shady does that look as well for Mayor Cheat? That they paid Shadow Inc., the people who developed this app for the Iowa caucus, they gave them like 40 grand. Just the implication and the optics of that alone just look really horrible and shady. And why would you even just, allow those bad optics to be out there? It's like, it's not good. It's not good. So let's see. Let's see what this Yahoo article, if it's any additional stuff than what we just read. Let's see. Look at this. An unaffiliated Democratic operative in Iowa provided Yahoo News with a copy of the contract between Shadow and the Iowa Democratic Party. The contract, which was signed on October 14th, not very far, or not very, it's not, I don't know, I guess I'm not super familiar with how long these apps and whatnot take to make, but that seems like not a whole lot of time, but maybe I'm, I don't know, being too generous. Maybe it doesn't take that long to make these apps. And refers to Shadow as the consultant, specified that the company had to work with the DNC and provide the National Party with access to its software for testing. Consultant agrees to work with the DNC Services Corporation Democratic National Committee on an ongoing basis as consultant develops the software. Wow. So look, I mean, this just shows that the DNC obviously could have been part of this, could have hacked these results potentially. Look at this. The contract also specifies that Shadow agrees to, quote, provide the DNC continual access to review the consultant systems configurations, that's Shadow Inc., security and system logs, system design, data flow design, security controls, preventative and detective, and operational plans for how the consultant will use and run the software for informational dissemination, pre-registration, tabulation, reporting, and reporting throughout the caucus process. So, I mean, I'm not saying they did this, but again, the DNC is just such kind of a just corrupt and shady party organization, just full of a lot of just, neoliberal hacks. I wouldn't put it past them. They had access to this app, all of the information about it, security controls, data, systems design, all this stuff. What's to say that they didn't have somebody go in there and like tweak the results, or maybe see what the results were? Like, okay, Buttigieg is doing fine, but he's not doing fine here. Let's change it around. I mean, I just, with their sordid history, and it's pretty long and horrible, I wouldn't put it past them, unfortunately. Let's see, what else do they say? So, and then the DNC communications director, Exo Chill Hino Josa, probably not pronouncing their name right, responded to questions about the DNC contract language in Atwater's email by saying that the party wanted access to the app. Yeah, of course, that's what they're saying now to cover their asses, obviously. Only wanted to access the app to address potential security concerns. Quote, we requested access to the tool solely for the purpose of doing security testing. Okay, if that was the point and that was the whole reason you wanted access to it, then why wasn't the app made secure? That seems a little fishy and strange. If your whole purpose for having access to this app that Shadow Inc. was developing for the Iowa caucus was for security testing, why wasn't the security testing done? Why was it, or could it have been so easy for a hacker to go into that system and change around vote totals? So that's total non-answer for me. That doesn't make sense. And they disputed the DNC was involved. I don't know. Some redactions. The source said that Shadow had charged the IDP at least $60,000 for its work so far. Good. And then, so the Nevada, after all this debacle at the Iowa caucus, said they're not going to use the app, but they're using this other app that hasn't been tested and has a lot of these issues, and the people who will be using it caucus day haven't been trained, so don't really have much more faith in the Nevada caucus going smoothly, unfortunately. Oh, look at this. This is good. Party State Chairman Troy Price announced his resignation on Wednesday, and many experts have suggested Iowa admit, and they should. They fucked it up royally this time. Why would you give them the opportunity to do it again? They shouldn't be first in the state. It should go to a different state for sure. Suggests that Iowa may lose its coveted status as the first state to vote in the next presidential election. Price didn't respond to requests for comments. Perez saying it shouldn't happen again, the DNC chair. And then this is what I was talking about. Yet the contract demonstrated that the DNC should have had the opportunity to foresee some of the problems. One provision in the contract says Shadow would provide monthly written updates to the DNC regarding the software status and timeline for implementation. It also required Shadow to work with outside consultants and cybersecurity specialists, which the DNC could choose in its sole discretion. According to the source who worked on the caucus, the DNC did have Shadow work with an outside cybersecurity firm. The source blamed the DNC and its security consultants for some of the issues that took place with reporting. they had a lot of thoughts and feelings on how this app was supposed to function. I think there was advice that was given that led to difficulties you saw on the Caucus night with people not being able to log in. The security steps that were taken made it difficult for an even technologically apt person to log in. Let's see. I don't know. So again, just a lot of like non answers and answers that don't really make sense coming from the Democratic establishment and the DNC and in particular. And I just don't have any faith in the DNC as an organization to be able to, you know, um, help create fair elections for the candidates, especially Bernie Sanders, because we saw what happened in Iowa. Most of the benefits went to Pete Buttigieg, and all of the negative kind of outcomes or implications were attributed to Bernie Sanders, at least to a large extent. And again, I just have a hard time believing that the DNC didn't play some part in this, or at least, the optics of everything around it paint a picture that they definitely could been involved in some of the shady shit that was going around or happening during the Iowa caucus. But those are just my thoughts. Share yours in the comment sections down below. And again, this is why Bernie needs to win by huge margins, because we've seen what the DNC and the Democratic establishment is willing to do and what lengths they're willing to take to try to cheat Bernie out of wins and out of the nomination again. So knock on doors, call, text, donate if you can, talk to friends and family members. We've got to do everything we can to make sure Bernie is the Democratic nominee. Peace. Much love.